Welcome one, welcome all to V8's Online's live broadcast of Season 2 of Porsche Carrera Cup Australia, sponsored by Sim Racing Bay. We're bringing you a fun night of racing tonight at the Phillip Island circuit to start off the second season of racing in one of the best series that Australian sim racing has to offer. My name is Reese Gardiner. Joining me in the commentary box is Jake Burton. Jake, it's going to be a fun night.
No doubt about it, Reese. I think Phillip Island is one of those tracks that not everyone likes, but definitely a really good track for racing, and I think these Carrera Cup cars make for an awesome combination around here.
Yeah, certainly, and one of the best tracks in Australian motorsport for sure. And we're coming up to the end of practice now, and qualifying is now underway, so we're getting ready to see who's going to start on pole for this race.
Yeah, we should mention we're broadcasting one of two of the qualifying servers, so the results we see in here won't be completely final, but we've picked the server that we feel is probably the more competitive one at the moment, so should definitely be seeing some of the fast guys we saw from the last season of PCCA, like Jared Phillip, Josh Muggleton, and those guys being amongst it in this session.
Yeah, certainly, but leading the charge so far is Forzan El Nabi on a 1 minute 34.769, running on board with Forzan at the moment. Got a fair margin over Jared Phillip, about 1.3 seconds to be exact, but Josh Muggleton has yet to set a competitive time, so we'll wait and see where that puts him. Josh Muggleton coming through the final turn at the moment, onto the start-finish straight. See where he goes as Gary Dawkins goes second. Blake Neck goes into pole on a 131.1. Jared Phillip a 30.4. Josh Muggleton straight to pole on a 30.387. So now the really competitive times are starting to be smashed out.
Yeah, obviously a little bit of sandbagging going on there from those guys, but oh no, sorry, my mistake. They went about that fast in practice as well, but they picked up about 4 or so tenths, obviously jumped up onto quali set, so Forzan El Nabi now coming up onto the front straight away is going to finish his first flying lap. We'll see what he can do, as he was third fastest in practice. That's going to be a 130.9 from Forzan, so that'll still put him P3, but he probably will want to get a little bit more out of that.
Yeah, certainly. We've got it's a long session though. The guys have got plenty of time to set a time. 40-minute session, currently about 4 minutes in, so only a tenth of the qualifying session done, and a track that is 1 minute and 30 seconds like Phillip Island, plenty of opportunities to get a lap right, which I suppose you'd be grateful for at a circuit like this, where one mistake can put you way down the field.
Yeah, no doubt, Reese. I think we also have a no escape rule in this series, which is going to make things a little bit more interesting and probably make that 40 minutes feel not quite as long as what it would normally feel. So a lot of these guys will be doing probably, I would assume, the turnover time for a lap would be about 5 minutes. So we'll probably see about 8 attempts at most these guys will get in this server.
Yep, certainly, and looking at the times, looks like there's plenty of room for improvement with Muggo on his in his low 30s, and Phillip not far behind. Meanwhile, it seems to get a bit closer behind them. Forzan El Nabi, Jake Maloney, both in the 30.9s so far. Blake Neck on a 31.1, Hayden Dobbin on a 31.2. Looks like we've just had a position change further down. Looks like, I think it might be Scott Larnack has gone into 8th place on a 31.4.
Yeah, I believe Scott's a recent pickup for Evolution Racing Team, I believe. So he's definitely one of the up-and-comers, especially in this Porsche Carrera Cup car. We saw him make an appearance in the pre-race sort of support category races for the World Championship the other week at Monza. Had a bit of bad luck, but definitely one of Australia's up-and-comers. I think what we should do, Reese, given it is such a long session, we should probably give our viewers a chance to ride on board with one of these Carrera Cup cars. And I see Jake Maloney in that TTL Porsche is heading up towards Heysheng now, and will be starting a lap next time round, so he might be a guy we could jump on board with.
Yeah, certainly a good guy to run with. Jake Maloney currently in 4th, and lots of room to improve. Phillip Island in these Porsche Carrera Cup cars is really something to behold. These cars having a very unique layout. Of course, they are rear engine, rear wheel drive, and under brakes especially, they're very sensitive. No ABS on these things, and basically a braking zone can make or break your lap. But as Jake Maloney goes through the final turn now, we'll go silent, and we will see how he goes on this one. Jake Maloney currently in 4th place.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, I would say is pretty textbook stuff from Jake Maloney. That's going to be a 131.2, so not quite an improvement, but still a very, very nice and clean lap from him on what is actually a 38-degree track, so not much grip out there tonight.
Yeah, certainly. Very hot and slick circuit out there in the Porsche Carrera Cup cars tonight. But of course, it's still a damn sight better than what they would have dealt with perhaps a year or so ago. Of course, the Carrera Cup car being one of the first in iRacing to run their newest version of the tyre model, which I have to say is a really, really good tyre model, especially compared to previous iterations. And yeah, it's a very enjoyable car to drive. But of course, it is challenging to go fast in, as we're seeing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think definitely the most advanced tyre model that iRacing's had yet, and I think one of the big points to bring up about it is that most of it was actually developed in the recreation of the tyre model for the V8 supercar, which we saw come into update at the beginning of this year. So car very close to us here at V8's Online was definitely one of the cars that it was tested on first and used on first, and it's helped out many of the new cars in the service, which is excellent.
Yeah, certainly great stuff there from iRacing. Of course, always updating their cars, making sure that they're up to standard. Josh Muggleton remaining on pole though so far in this session, as I think it'd be a good time to take a look at the schedule for this series, Jake. Phillip Island, of course, round 1 here on the 21st of May, but the 4th of June we're going to a very similar circuit in Mosport, and of course that's running in a 45-minute race format just like this, so that'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, that'll be a really good race, but then we look after that, a couple tracks that are sort of more tight and twisty and not very much margin for error. We got Barber on the 18th of June, a track that's going to be really important in terms of braking and high-speed car performance, so that's going to be really tough. And then similar with a double points round at Oran Park on the 9th of July. I think Oran Park will be really, really fun in these cars.
Oh yeah, certainly. Very start-stop, and of course the Porsche really likes those tight turns that you can really smash on the throttle out of and get get a really good launch out of the corner thanks to that engine over the rear wheels adding some weight. Then on the 23rd of July, we go to a track that's kind of a mix of the two types of circuit we see in this opening part of the season at Imola. Very, very fast track, but lots of chicanes and curbs that can make or break your lap. And then a week later, on the 30th of July, we go to Virginia International Raceway for another 45-minute race. And, well, they call VIR America's Nürburgring, so it'll be interesting to watch racing there, especially through those flat-out S's that go up and down and over the hills.
Yeah, VIR, undoubtedly my favourite North American track on the service, but then we've got two other North American circuits directly after, the first one being Lime Rock, so a bit of a contrast. We go from a 5.2 kilometre wide open fast circuit to a really, really tight and twisty Lime Rock Park, so that'll be a special round, and then we'll follow that with Sonoma. A track that's really well known for its use in the NASCAR and IndyCar series, and that round will be double points before the season finale at the 3rd of September at Mount Panorama, a track that these Carrera Cup cars are heaps of fun at, and definitely a high-risk, exciting place to go to finish off this season.
Yeah, going back to the 45-minute format for that, as well as we have Blake Neck on screen at the moment for Evolution Racing Team. It's a very good schedule for this series of Porsche Carrera Cup Australia, and this series was almost dead after the beginning of last season, so it's really good to have George Johnson come in and help resurrect the series and give it a sponsor in the form of Sim Racing Bay, company that provides direct drive racing wheels delivered and spec'd out. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of this season if that schedule is anything to go by.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Blake Neck we saw run a little bit wide off the last corner there, and I think that's actually invalidated his lap, as no lap is going to be set then, but it looks like he's going to go for another crack.
We're going to go to Muggo. Oh dear, jeez, look at that. That's one way to cross the start-finish line, Jake.
Yeah, not hard to do here at Phillip Island. You just run a little bit too wide, get on that grass, and suddenly you're facing the concrete. And when you're doing 220 k's an hour, he's actually done a really good job to keep that out of both fences there. So, big moment there for Mogo.
Yeah, looking at other cars on track, I'm seeing Darren Marsh is coming through turn 2 now. Darren Marsh, bit of an interesting one, this one. Former driver for Team Redline, of course, the world's most successful sim racing team overall, with drivers like Gregor Hutu and Martin Kroenke and Ben Cornett in league with that team. But Darren Marsh recently left Redline and has joined Team TTL and is driving around at the track at the moment in those orange, black and white Porsche Carrera Cup machines. Currently in 14th place on a 31.9. I am watching this lap with interest to see what he can do on this flyer.
Yeah, back got a little bit unsettled down at Honda, but he's recovered it nicely as he heads up to Siberia. Of course, a lot of people question why someone like Darren Marsh would leave a team like Redline to join Team TTL, but it must be mentioned that I believe Darren has been long-time friends with some of the veteran drivers over at TTL from back in the Grand Prix Legends days, and obviously being an Australian, so it does make quite a lot of sense as he's quite wide up through Lukey Heights.
Yep, and running a wide line coming into the final turn, hooking up that apex out across the exit curb, really on limit here through the final turn at Phillip Island. We'll see what kind of time Darren Marsh will set on this lap. It's going to be a 31.7. He improves to 11th spot. Good lap.
Yeah, he'll be knowing though that there is a little bit more in that. There were a couple little mistakes there, but we're looking now at Forzan El Nabi trying to take it to that front 3 as he's coming into the last corner to complete a lap.
Yeah, hooking up that apex nicely. Wondering if he might actually be starting a lap.
Lap time will show. Yeah, that was an outlap. 1:34.8 is about your lap time for an outlap here. Obviously the start line after the start of the pit lane exit. So this will be his fly now as there is a car off in front of him. That'll be a little bit distracting.
Yeah, who was that? That was Sean Evans there. Sean Evans currently in P28 at the moment. But going back to Forzan, coming through Honda. Or Stoner, sorry.
Stoner and into Honda.
Got me corners mixed up.
A little bit twitchy under brakes, but does a good job to get it to that apex as he now runs up to Siberia. Ocean in sight. Now he twists back the other way. Heads up towards Hayshed.
Beautiful location, this Phillip Island circuit, right by the ocean.
Yeah, undoubtedly one of the prettiest tracks to go to, and all at home in Australia as well. As he heads up to Lukey Heights, keeps it nice and tight, goes for a bit of a double apex. He's got to be careful not to pinch a brake here on the run down to MG. Beautifully executed there as he's going to run up into the last corner now.
Yep, almost flat through there. Up into third, up into fourth, up into fifth gear. Going through the final turn at Phillip Island. A little bit of an early turn in, but he keeps it nice and clean. Avoids that exit curb. And now it's all down to acceleration. 1 minute 30.8. That's an improvement for Forzan, but he doesn't change position. Still 4/10 behind Jared Filsell in second, but he won't be unhappy with that time.
Yeah, he was actually very, very close to Jake Maloney there, but that's actually given him a little bit of a buffer, about a tenth and a bit there, so that'll be handy for him. He'll be happy about that. But I think it's going to be pretty hard for any of these guys to get anywhere near Muggo and Filsell. We are only about halfway through, but they just have such an advantage at the moment.
Yeah, certainly. Looking further down the field, Bo Albert coming into turn one at the moment, having just started a hot lap. Bo currently down in 14th place on a 31.841. He's only 5 thousandths behind Tim Ballinger for those midfield positions, so any little improvement he can get around here, he will certainly take.
Ran a little wide exiting Southern Loop. He seems to be struggling to get the front end of that thing turned in at high speed, but he does a very nice job through Honda. Beautifully squaring off the exit there. And awesome through Siberia as well. A little bit wide, but in control. An easy flat these things should be through Hayshed.
Yeah, and then Lukey Heights, the rear end of the car wants to come round as you come over the rise here, but you just got to keep the car nice and stable, braking hard down into MG, making sure you don't lock up, then out on the throttle. Keep the throttle pinned. You got the car set up right. If you do your driving style set up right, it should be nice and easy through here. Once again, hooking up the apex. Yeah. We'll see how that goes, though, for Bo Albert. Crossing the start-finish line. Time is a 31.945. That is not an improvement for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's quite close in about that range where Bo Albert is. If he can find about 2/10, he'll pick up a couple positions. So
another two cars further down, looking pretty close together. Or not now, though. Looks like Gary Dawkins has pulled over and escaped off the track on his outlap there.
Just seen Mitchell McLeod jump up the timesheets as well. He's done a 16th place time of a 1:31.9, so that's actually put him just in front of Lewis Gallen.
Yeah, very good there from Mitch. It's looking like a fair spread of times, but of course it's a very consistent spread of times as well. So I think everyone's going to have someone to race with when we eventually get to the race session, as we have a look at Dane Warren, currently up in P7 at the moment, under heavy brakes down into Honda. A very tight hairpin, one of the slowest corners on the circuit, with the other being MG.
Yeah, Dane Warren's definitely an up-and-comer driver for All-Star Motorsports, and All-Star being a team that have actually bred off many good drivers in the Australian community, one of them being Josh Rogers. So this guy can steer, and he can steer across many different cars. So look for Dane Warren in the next 6 months or so to come up and rise, but I think he'll probably want a couple more tenths out of this time. I think he knows he can probably be better than 7th, but didn't set a time in practice.
Yeah, well, 7th place is definitely nothing to sneeze at, and he's only a second off pole, so definitely improvements to be made. We'll see what he can do as he comes back onto the start-finish straight. Oh, doesn't quite... Oh, he's pulling to a stop on the start-finish straight and escapes back to the pits.
Sounded like it coughed on fuel then. Maybe he... I don't know, that was unusual there, Reece. Not too sure what happened, but we'll take a look at Jared Timon. Currently sitting in 18th. He's just started a lap and has gone very tight and very fast through turn 1 up into Southern Loop. Looks a little bit nicer as well.
Yes,
squares
definitely.
it off. Nice and neat.
Oh, he's got a car off there in front of him at Honda, but to stay out of the way, that was David Coleman there.
Definitely looks to be running a lot of late apexes around here.
Yeah, that's the way to go in this Porsche Carrera Cup car. It's actually not a huge fan of long flowing turns, as I mentioned before. It really likes those tracks like Oran Park, where there's heavy braking, tight turns, and then just smashing on the throttle out of the corner, like here at MG. Those are the kinds of corners that this Carrera Cup car likes. So it does take a bit of effort to squeeze some time out of the car here at Phillip Island. But Jared Timon coming through the final turn. Once again,
seeing a lot of throttle through the last corner there. He's going to straighten the car up, head for that ocean, and do a 132.3, which I don't believe is an improvement.
that's his best lap, 132, 109 or 110, that puts him into 19th place. So yeah, not, like you said, Jake, not a huge improvement, but it's progress.
Yeah, mine just updated a little late there. It's still sold to 32.3, so yep, good improvement there from Jared. Speaking of Jared, I've actually seen Mr. Phil Cell just loop it coming on into the pits there, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. Noticed that.
But interestingly, Jared and Muggo have not improved since their very first laps in this session, so we do know that the nature of the dynamic track in iRacing at the moment is it's very, very fast in the opening few minutes before the track gets all cleaned up and warm. So could be a bit of the condition a lot of these guys are suffering with at the moment. If you don't make that first lap count, it's very, very difficult to improve.
Yeah, and with this many cars out on track, we've got 31 cars having set a time at the moment. That track will be very low grip, especially with such a high base temperature. So, I wouldn't expect times to improve too much now towards the end of the session.
That'll also explain why we have, the field isn't that close. Because a lot of guys may be struggling to do that first flying lap, need a few laps to sort of get into the rhythm of things. It certainly puts a lot of pressure on these guys. We see it a lot in Scops, that first lap being so important.
Warren Pickering, though, on the screen at the moment. Warren currently sitting in 20th place. Warren, bit of a prolific HPD prototype driver for Redback Racing Team, now crossing the line to set a 32.472. Again, not being able to improve that hot track, getting the better of him, but unfortunately, but still, top 20 for Warren Pickering so far. He'll be hoping to keep that, but of course he's looks to be facing a little bit of pressure from Benjamin J. Smith just behind him. Only a difference of about 0.03 of a second in lap time between those guys.
Yeah, I actually expected maybe a little bit more out of Warren Pickering. This guy can definitely steer. He's quite fast, as you say, in the HPD race, and I'm pretty sure in some of our last Porsche Carrera Cup Australia rounds in last season, he's been up in the top 10 even at some point. So also in the semi-final of the All-Star Shootout last Tuesday, as mentioned by our director in our ears there. So yeah, maybe a little bit struggling with this hotter track, and maybe not a huge fan of Phillip Island.
Yeah, true. I do know Phillip Island definitely has its detractors. I definitely enjoy it as a circuit, but of course, you know, your mileage varies. I think there's nothing more subjective in motorsports than how much you enjoy a racetrack. But Warren Pickering running wide through the second last turn there. I wonder if he's going to go for the pits. No, he's going to stay out. He's going to go through the final turn again and possibly look at setting yet another lap time.
Well, we'll see what this lap is. It looked more like he was trying to set up for another one, but no lap counted there, so he would have known that. So he's obviously trying to do another one on his third lap, which is a bit brave.
Yeah, definitely. Those tyres will be protesting. Comes
And
through
he's
Southern
very
Loop.
wide at
Ooh.
Southern Loop.
Yeah, that's not necessarily a bad thing, though. You can try and hook it up with the late apex, but Warren doesn't look like he's been able to do that, unfortunately, as he goes through Stoner. Southern Loop's a very interesting one. There doesn't seem to be any, like, one correct line. Sometimes you have guys sticking to the inside all the way through. Sometimes you have drivers double apexing it. Sometimes staying out wide on entry and then coming in nice and close in the second phase of the corner. It's one of the more interesting corners in Australian motorsport, I think.
Yeah, we'll cast their mind back to last year's Phillip Island 500 in the V8 Scops in the top 10 shootout. We saw Jared Philsell actually run a really, really wide line and then cut down and almost get an off track on exit, yet still, I believe, put the car on pole. So definitely some surprises out there with race lines, but Warren has decided to abort the final part of that flyer. So we'll take a look at Blake Neck for ERT, another guy who hasn't really improved since his first flyer.
Yeah, certainly. 31-1 is the time on the board at the moment for Blake Neck, just behind Dane Warren, coming through the second last turn, and by the pit entry. What was his? Well, he set his fastest lap. Yeah, as you said, right at the session, a 31-1, and this is currently his 10th attempt at a hot lap, 31-8. So. Big difference there for Blake Neck in between his fastest lap and his last one. That's yeah, I honestly don't know, Jake. I don't think we'll be seeing any improvements from anyone in this final stage of the session.
Yeah, I'm starting to think Blake's actually done two high 31s back to back there, so I'm starting to, and he looks like he's going again, so I'm starting to think maybe Blake has realised the track's gone off and has maybe gone up to do some race practice.
Yep. A very reasonable assumption to make. Thomas Hinz, though, on screen at the moment. Currently last on the timesheets on a 33-2. Thomas Hinz, a guy that I know very well from the European and non-iRacing communities in sim racing, and has recently made the jump over to iRacing, getting some experience in iRacing commentary in V8 Scops. Of course, he was already a very skilled commentator on some other sim racing leagues in the European scene, but now he's on board with Proforce Racing. A big improvement, though, from Thomas Hinz there, a 32.486. That puts him in 24th position.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Reece. I also noticed while watching Hinsey there, sort of noticed a fair bit of dirt and dust flying off the back of that car coming off the last corner, so maybe someone's had a bit of an off there, and that could also contribute a little bit to the lack of pace, as he's just had quite a big spin off Southern Loop.
Just caught the grass there on that curb, which is a very easy thing to do. Very challenging exit.
I did just see, I think, someone make a big improvement just then. I believe it was Dane Warren, maybe, who's just done a 131.0, I think. So Dane making a big improvement. That's going to put him up to P5. So,
oh yeah,
people are still making gains.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe in this final stage of the session, the track has rubbered up enough that the slickness generated by the amount of cars on track is negated somewhat.
Yeah, that's true. You do notice that, especially in V8 Scops pre-qual sessions, they can be up to 6 hours long, and you know, often the best times are in the first 30 minutes when everyone jumps on, but you can find later in the evening around 10 o'clock WA time when guys have been off for a few hours and there's only been a couple cars circulating, that track can cool right back down and get faster, and that can happen in this closing few minutes.
Certainly can. Grant Fitzpatrick on screen at the moment. 26th position on a 32.749.
I think these guys will sort of be the guys who are on the brink of getting into top split. So if you're Grant Fitzpatrick, you're probably going to want to find the best amount of time that you can just to ensure that you get up into that top split. I believe it is it 30 or 40 cars we see in tonight's?
I'm not quite sure, but Mitch McLeod has just made another improvement. He's up to 12th place now on a 31.6. That's quite the improvement there from Mitch.
Yeah, so Fitzpatrick seems to just be in the 33s, so I'm not sure if maybe he's doing a bit of a race run there. That was 3 or 4 laps into his session, but Guy Leach now, another guy who maybe we'd expect to see a little bit further up the grid, but he's come into Honda and laps look good so far.
Yeah, certainly has. Guy Leach, a guy that I've had many battles on track with in the past. We're very similar in terms of pace, so it's pretty good to see him up there at the moment. Very, very close to Mitch McLeod's set time. Mitch on a 31.662, Guy Leach on a 6.75. And up through Lukey Heights and down to MG Corner. Just breaking through a little bit. Yeah.
He's recovered it nicely though. He actually almost made it his advantage. He, as go-karters would say, full KZ spec that corner, really triangled the car to the apex, and probably lost him a tenth or so, but could have been much worse as he comes off the last corner and onto the Gardner Straight here at Phillip Island. And it's going to be a 1 minute 31.9, so I reckon that could have almost been an improvement, or at least equaled his previous time of a 0.6 had he not made that little error.
Yeah, definitely. But of course, in this car, that's an easy mistake to make. As I've mentioned, these brakes are incredibly sensitive in these cars. Only about half pressure on the iRacing calibration monitor before you start locking them up. But we've got George Johnson on screen at the moment. George, of course, the man behind this revitalized Carrera Cup series. Not actually Australian. He is American, stationed in Seoul, in Korea, due to his job in the United States military. But of course, he loves his sim racing, and he's been able to get, of course, a series sponsor in the form of Sim Racing Bay, and get out there and have a bit of a run himself.
I was a little bit confused about the AusNZ Club and then the 270 ping, so thanks for clearing that up, Reece. So not entirely sure why he's a member of the AusNZ Club. Maybe was in Australia when he got iRacing, so cool to see some international guys around.
Yeah.
Looks like he's just started a lap, maybe.
Yeah, looks to be the case there as he exits Southern Loop. Very clean exit from Johnson. Hasn't got much of a margin to Andrew Stokes, only about half a tenth's worth. So if he can find just a little bit more time, he'll be able to make a bit of an improvement as he exits Honda Corner. Down into Siberia once again. Just double checking the times up the front. It doesn't look like we've seen any improvements up front again, so I think we'll see the big movers and shakers down here in the field.
Yeah, George just seems to be struggling to get the front end of that car rotated initially. He's been very wide at a couple of these corners, and now down into MG. A little bit deep again, but he's kept the lap all together, so we'll be able to see if he improves. But
He's going for the pits.
Yeah, he ran wide a couple of times, so I'm not surprised he's aborted that one, but we'll jump on board with Forzan El Nabi, who I think has just started a lap as he comes out of Southern Loop and down into Stoner Corner.
Very challenging corner, Stoner. It looks just like a flat-out sweeper, but depending on the car, you can have a pretty hard time through there, especially trying to get the car gathered up on the exit for braking into Honda. Then Siberia. Oh, Forzan comes to a stop.
Yeah, not entirely sure why he did that. I'm assuming actually it's probably because he might have been a little bit down on his time and realised there's not long to go. So I think most of these guys are probably only going to get one more run at it.
Meanwhile, I saw an improvement further down the field on the live timing. Should mention, live timing is available for this event. All you got to do is go onto the YouTube stream and check in the description. We've got a link to v8online.com/live-timing, and you'll be able to see all the information about what kind of times drivers are setting. But Wayne Taylor made a small improvement up to 24th place on a 32.4.
Well done there. We've seen an improvement from Warren Pickering, a guy who we were talking about a little while ago, has jumped up one place, I think.
It looks like it.
We'll head over to the ex-Team Redline driver and now TTL driver Darren Marsh, who's just started a lap as he heads into Southern Loop. Keeps it nice and tight, goes through a bit of a double apex, probably run it right out to the curb. On exit here, keeps it nice and tidy. Stoner is all about, in this car, it's flat out, but it's all about getting the line right into Honda, making sure you jump on the brakes straight, which he's done quite nicely there. Carries quite a bit of corner speed, doesn't quite make the apex, but rounds off the exit beautifully.
Little bit of a power slide there from Darren Marsh, which is a good strategy in this car. Porsches definitely like the rear end to swing around a little bit. Oh, runs off track just a little bit coming into Hayshed, but I don't think that will constitute an off track. Now Lukey Heights. Oh no, Darren Marsh has abandoned that lap. Unfortunately, he's going to remain down in 15th place. Luis Paulo Gallon made an improvement, it looks like, down in 18th position.
Yep, that's an improvement for Lewis. I think Lewis only really started driving this car in the past sort of month or so. Obviously a recent recruitment for TTR for his spectacular abilities in the GT3 car, but taking his time to get used to this Porsche 911 Carrera Cup car.
Meanwhile, looking at Benjamin J. Smith, who is currently on track just in front of Lewis, coming through Hayshed. Benjamin just outside the top 20, looks to be a fair margin of about 3/10 or so. Jared Timon all running very wide there through Lukey Heights, and Lewis behind him doing the same, running off at MG. It'll be interesting to see what Benjamin can do as there's a car off on the exit.
Big
Quite a
patch
few
of
cars
dirt
off there.
exiting MG as well, so this track hot and dirty at the moment.
Yep, the session has just gone 30 seconds to go before the checkered, so if you want to start a lap, boys, do it now.
No improvement for Benjamin Smith, as he's now gone wide and off at turn 1, so that'll probably be the end of his session. I think it'll pretty much be last lap around for everyone.
We'll go on with Muggo, have the camera trained on him. This will be his final lap here, coming down into Southern Loop as the checkered flag flies.
Round Southern Loop almost perfectly there.
Lovely stuff from Josh Muggleton coming through Stoner, hooking up that curb nicely. Oh, losing it under brakes at Honda, but he keeps it on line.
That was committed.
Yeah, very much so. Now into Siberia, this banked left-hander goes a full 180 degrees.
Using all the road as well. There'll be no lift whatsoever here through Hayshed. He's going to throw it in nice and deep up at Lukey Heights, really tight. Keeps the left wheels up onto that curb so he can square off up to MG here.
Little bit of
Nice and
rotation.
sideways.
Yep, hooking up the apex nicely there at MG. And now just feathering the throttle. Another power slide, and he is going to go straight for the pits, Josh Muggleton. No need for any improvements. He's basically secured pole for round 1 of Porsche Carrera Cup
the last
Australia.
person on a lap is Hayden Dodman. That was very committed and throwing the car at the corner sort of lap from Josh Muggleton, but he should retain pole unless Hayden Dodman does anything about it. Hayden comes to the line and does a 1:31.1, which is an improvement.
Wow.
Just
Jumps
tops
Blake
off
Neck.
Blake Neck.
Very nice job there from Hayden Dodman, and it looks like that is session over for qualifying for round 1 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Championship at Phillip Island, presented by Sim Racing Bay. Well, we're going to change servers now as Mr. Johnson sorts the field based on all of the qualifying times. We might see some new faces in the top split race session, depending on the times set in the other qualifying session that was running concurrent with this one. But I think, Jake, it is an opportune moment to take a break as the race servers are set up. So we'll say goodbye for now, but we'll be back very, very soon in a few minutes for round 1 of Porsche Carrera Cup Australia from Phillip Island. 45 minutes of racing awaits here on V8's Online, the best race here. We'll see you in a bit.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation. Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the world of outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
Welcome back, one and all, to V8's Online's live coverage of the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Championship. We are coming to you from Phillip Island for round one, presented by Sim Racing Bay. Hello to all of our viewers in Australia and across the world on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live and iRacing Live. My name is Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box is Jake Burton. And Jake, we've got a very interesting race on our hands tonight at Phillip Island.
It's time to go racing. 52 cars we'll have out there, so a simply massive grid of cars. They all got crammed into one split, so all the guys there have made it into top split, which a lot of guys will find very exciting, but also a lot of cars to get through for some of the guys starting towards the back of the field.
Yeah, certainly. We've got drivers setting times in warm-up at the moment. Warm-up's half over, about 5 minutes to go, but then we'll be gridding up for a 45-minute race around the picturesque, fast and challenging Phillip Island circuit just off the coast of Victoria in Eastern Australia. And I'm certainly looking forward to it, especially up the front. Josh Muggleton versus Jared Philsell should certainly be interesting. Both teammates, both very fast. Of course, we've got a bunch of guys behind them who will also be chomping at the bit to try and get some points in round one of this new season.
No doubt about it. I think, to be honest, we're probably going to see Muggo and Philsell absolutely drive away with this one and battle amongst themselves. We did see that. I think it might have been Spa last season we saw that happen, so going to be interesting between those two, but I know there's a lot of guys out in the field who aren't as much one-lap drivers but more racers, and we'll definitely see them start to come through as well, and who knows what the lap traffic's going to do also. Obviously with 52 cars out there, you're going to have guys getting lapped pretty quickly, and could make racing very interesting.
Yeah, especially around Phillip Island, which is full of these very long, fast-flowing curves where a lapped car coming up in the middle of a turn can really upset you. A little bit of a weather update, meanwhile. It looks like the track is completely clean in this warm-up session. No rubber laid down at all, and the track is going to be carried over from warm-up in the race, so it's going to be pretty slippery out there. However, we do have a track that is 2 degrees cooler than the qualifying session at 36 degrees Celsius, so yeah, I really don't envy those guys out there having to deal with a track as slippery as that.
Look at that wind though, Reese. That'll be playing huge havoc with some of those guys. There's a 22 km/h southwesterly, so I believe that's the same direction as what we had in qualifying, but almost twice as fast. So
wow.
That'll be throwing guys off. It'll be going straight up the main straight, which will make turn one very, very tricky, and coming off the last corner. Look for a lot of guys losing that back end as they lose downforce coming up onto the straight.
Yeah, certainly. Will be interesting to see. Certainly. It's going to be a standing start in this series, so it's going to be a mad scramble down to turn one. Phillip Island's turn one, of course, not a very typical turn one. It's very fast, very flowing, and at racing speed, it only requires basically a tap of the brakes, maybe a downshift in these cars. So coming up there from a standing start, it'd only really require a lift up the front, but when you got guys possibly running 2, maybe 3 wide, it's going to result in some interesting scenes for sure. Thankfully, we've got a lot of runoff there to make sure that drivers are able to continue on, but of course we've got those marshal posts there in the middle of those expanses, and you lose it at a high enough speed, you see one of those things coming towards you and your thought is just, oh no.
No doubt, Reese. I think it's almost a guarantee that we'll have 52 cars go into turn one, but we probably won't have 52 come out. It's a track that's, given its high speed, turn one, very notorious for incidents, and also look for that run out of Stoner. Guys can get knocked wide, and that can often end in rather large accidents down at Honda. Saw that a few years ago happen to James Courtney in the V8 Supercars, and we've seen it many times in sim racing, so definitely a dangerous first few combinations of corners here at Phillip Island, but once everyone's spread out, it should be some really good racing.
Certainly should. We've got under a minute to go in the warm-up session at the moment. Got drivers just setting lap times on their race setups, giving it a good run, making sure there's a little bit of rubber laid down on track, which shouldn't be too hard with as many cars on track as there are. Already seeing quite a bit of a racing line actually forming. Lots of rubber being laid down very nicely there. Jared Phillip currently in first place in the warm-up session on a 1 minute 30.472. But of course, he will be starting on the opposite side of the grid and possibly a tiny bit back from Josh Muggleton, who was able to take pole position in the qualifying session. Got drivers coming out of pits, just making sure that everything is working in their cars just fine.
Josh Muggleton doing a few practice starts there, as are many of the guys. It's quite a hard car to get off the line.
Yeah, certainly. I don't think I've figured out how to do it, and I've been driving the car pretty much since it came out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting nonetheless, but big old drag race down into turn 1. We might run through our top 10 on the grid at least. We don't have time to go through all 52, but it looks pretty much identical to how it was in our session. So pole position, Josh Muggleton on a 130.3, followed by Jared Phillip in second. These are the two guys who will probably see drive away and have a fair margin over third. Forzan El Nabi and Jake Maloney in fourth, with Dane Warren in fifth, Hayden Dodman sixth, Blake Neck seventh. Michael Healy is going to be in 8th, with Scott Lanich in 9th, and Bo Albert rounding out the 10. I think that battle for the lead's going to be quite interesting, and I pretty much got no doubt, Reece, we're going to see a huge train from about 6th or 7th back.
Yeah, certainly. I'm looking for Draft City here at Phillip Island, but the tension is rising as these drivers sit on the grid and just wait for the counter to go up to 2 minutes. Wow, what a sight. 52 cars on the front straight at Phillip Island. And we've gone green. So Porsche Carrera Cup Australia at Phillip Island is go, and it looks like Jared Phillip's gotten a bit of a jump on Josh Muggleton, but he's got the inside line for turn 1. Phillip is ahead though into turn 1. Muggleton going to the inside. The TTR teammates are going to go side by side through turn 1. Now into Southern Loop they go. Muggleton has the advantage there, and he's probably going to cut down a little bit on Phillip, jostling around in the field. Phillip now has the lead. So these TTR teammates battling amazingly in the first couple of turns.
And guess what, Reece? All 52 cars have made it out of Southern Loop.
Wow.
Incredible.
But wait up. All Muggleton off, coming out of Stoner. He's almost lost it coming into Honda. And now, here is the choke point. We've got a car off there. It looks like a talking car. Oh, we've got a couple of cars around at Honda as well. I'm not sure who those guys are.
We have to get a replay of Mitch McLeod there. He has... He's done an awesome job to keep that out of hitting everyone in the field there. He's picked the throttle back up and kept it out of the field. That was brilliant driving from Mitchell McLeod, and we're going to see a caution. Safety car.
Safety car there. Of course, this the series does have live stewarding. We're going to take a look at what happened to Mitch McLeod there. It's going to be interesting for me because I missed that. Looks like Mitch was on the outside through Stoner and hitched the brake, almost rear-ended what looks to be a TTL car.
Yeah, I think that was Jake Maloney that he nearly rear-ended there. But he's, as our director has just mentioned, he's done a sensational job of pulling that up and not ending up crossing the track and hitting more cars.
That could have gone horribly. Meanwhile, other guys involved in incidents at Honda. Looks like Luis Polo Gallon was involved in an incident with, it looks to be Sean Evans. Evans lost it under braking at Honda. So did Gallon. Both of them went off, and separately actually, and then Evans just smashed into the side of Gallon once they'd gone off the track, completely out of control there. So we've already got a couple of cars with pretty heavy damage out there, Jake.
Yeah, unfortunately it's always going to happen at a track like Phillip Island, pretty much up to speed straight away, which means any small mistake or bit of contact when the guys are 3 wide, it's going to be big damage. So big shame for some of the guys who have struggled there, but Jared Phillip is now your race leader.
Yeah, he certainly is. Oh, and I just looked at the broadcast replay. Even more carnage down there at Honda that I completely missed. Grant Fitzpatrick involved in that as well, and Gallon making contact with a car as he came back onto the track. But wow, well that's shaken things up a little bit, Jake. But now we're on to safety car. Jared Phillip has the lead of this race from Josh Muggleton.
Yeah, might just have a little look to see some of the guys who have benefited from that whole situation. I see Benjamin J. Smith is up from 24th on the grid to 17th in just 2 laps. So I think that's probably the gain of the whole field there.
Yep, looks like other movers and shakers have been Bo Albert from 10th to 7th, Michael Hammond up from 12th to 9th, 18th to 15th for Warwick Brown. Jake Maloney sending messages to the YouTube chat while he's driving, multitasking massively. Don't text and drive, kids.
Well, he'll be happy. We'll actually get to watch himself, which is pretty cool. I do remember back in the day during the V8 races, there was one race I did when I first got into Top Split where I ran my sim on one screen and the broadcast on the other.
And yeah, how did that go for you?
Well, I was slow anyway, but probably didn't assist in it. I was more interested in what was happening at the front in my own race, but nonetheless.
We got some fair action on the headlight flashing from these guys, Jared Phillip and Jake Maloney, really going to town on those headlights. Maybe they're saying to the safety car driver, "Come on, leg up. We want to get racing again."
Somehow I don't think he sees them.
Yeah.
But pretty cool to see that. Although it's a rough versus a Porsche, we do have 2 very similar cars in terms of the pace car and the race cars.
Yes, indeed. Of course, that the Roof RT12R is based on the previous generation Porsche 911. Of course, this generation of 911 that you see the race cars doing is the 991, the current generation, latest and greatest from Stuttgart.
Take a look through the field at some of, as our director quoted, cool helmet designs throughout the field. This should be a new segment for Porsche Carrera Cup Australia safety cars. We're looking at Warren Pickering. I don't actually have trading paint, so maybe Reese, you can describe that one for us.
Where is Warren? A weird skull design there. Wow, that's actually quite impressive, Warren. That's a very interesting helmet design.
Should also take a look at Mitch McLeod, because I believe Mitch has actually painted his own real-life helmet from karting and put it in the game. Something I'd quite like to do.
Yeah, Hayden Dodman's done that as well.
Hayden Dodman actually has a really cool kart helmet, so hopefully that's the one that we see in racing.
Yeah, very good helmet designs throughout the field here, but it looks like we're about to go.
One
more lap.
Phillip just backing up the field a little bit, I think, is what caught our director out there.
Well, looking further down the field, we're seeing some really big gains around the top 30 sort of area. Looks like up from 44th to 28th, Darren O'Brien in car 777. Oh no, there's been a crash under caution. Goodness me, what went on there? Luis Polo Gallon got spun. How did that happen? What is going on back there?
We'll have to get a replay of that. I didn't see that myself.
Hang on a moment. We're gonna take another look at that. That was oh no, that was yeah, that was looks like Lewis was caught out a little bit by the field backing up. Car number 64, that's David Coleman. They might have thought it was going green, but they were really backing up, and so Lewis Gallon and Damien Carr were both caught out by that, and Gallon came off much worse for that. That's a very bizarre incident.
Yeah, it's never good when we see cars crashing on the safety car. It is designed to be a safe period.
Yep, oh yeah, and it looks like we had an ERT car caught up in that as well. That was Sean Evans once again. Oh man, that...
Problem is Jared's actually slowing down massively and then speeding up to catch the field, and I think that's throwing a few of the guys off, but
yeah.
Our directors just pointed out that we could actually be seeing a double file restart here.
Yeah, that's that would certainly be interesting to see, but yeah, guys, little note for the future, just take care under safety car, make sure not to go too fast, otherwise stuff like that might happen.
We should also mention that this makes fuel pretty easy for these guys, because 45 minutes, it's not a lap race, so that really makes it easier on the fuel tank, so we shouldn't see any guys running out, but we're going to see the safety car in this time for Jared Philsell and Josh Muggleton heading off our field. Jared backs the field up quite a bit there.
Yeah, Muggo going a bit too far forward there. Don't pass the leader, as the iRacing spotter would say.
Pace car's in now, so the field is now in control of Jared. Well, Jared is now in control of the field, should I say, as they come up onto the front straight. When's the foot going to hit the floorboard?
Yeah, Jared Philsell once again going crazy on the headlights. Jared, please stop spamming it and start spamming the throttle. Waiting for the green flag, and away we go.
Foot to the floor, it's going to be a good start. 3 wide behind.
Oh, we've already got a car off. Who is that? Let's have a look at that. Scott Nolan and Damien Carr making a huge dive up the inside further back in the field. Oh, huge crash back here in Southern Loop. We got cars around. Oh, wow. Who is involved with that? Another yellow.
Thomas Hines is... Oh, one car has gone quite
Benjamin
vertical.
Smith.
Scott Lanarch has actually crashed hugely at turn 1 there. He's gone halfway to space. Benjamin
Smith rejoining right in the middle of Southern Loop. Oh, we've got a car going airborne on the exit of Southern Loop. Who was that? That was Thomas Hins there. Goodness me. I don't know how that was going to end any other way, Jake. Goodness me.
Yeah, I think obviously guys are a little bit too excited heading down there into turn 1.
Let's get another replay of that. Should be up on your screen. If not now, then very shortly. I'm going to go into blimp view and see what on earth just happened. Looks like part of it may have been started by... I'm seeing a car sideways in the middle of turn 1. So, Warwick Brown, it seems, was just on the grass a little bit in turn 1.
Yeah, so that was all started by, Warwick Brown. He's got a little bit loose and he's hit Scott Lanarch, which has rotated him in front of the field, and he's been collected and sent sky high.
Yep, and it looks like in the process of attempting to avoid him, Benjamin Smith and Mitch McLeod went around in all of that. Had an All-Star Motorsports car off as well. Who was that? No idea. But yeah, we haven't gotten much racing, unfortunately, Jake, in the midst of all of this.
Yeah, well, hopefully as a few of the cars are, as horrible as it is to say, hopefully as a few of the guys are taken out, it makes the racing a little bit less hectic, and we'll see some of these guys get some really nice racing. We did say it was going to be like this, 52 cars trying to launch down into that corner. There's always going to be situations like this. But see if we can take a little bit of a look at, we'll say, our victim list so far. So I think we probably saw about 7 or 8 taken out in that shunt.
Yeah, looks like Scott Nolan with no front end. Darren O'Brien, I think, sustained some heavy damage in that as well. Of course, Scott Larnack was one of the biggest casualties of that. Mitch McLeod was in it, but he's coming back out.
Unfortunately, I think the problem with Phillip Island is if a car spins like that, you really don't have anywhere to go, and if you go wide, you hit the grass, and you're going to end up in another accident further down the road. So, you have a car rotate so close to the front like that, it's going to take out a lot of cars.
Certainly. Well, now we play the waiting game once again before we go green again under safety car. Jared Philsell's still leading.
Yeah, Thomas Hines there, just looking, sustained some very heavy damage, but has managed to come in and get it repaired, and I think they're just talking at race control about whether or not he can come through and retain the position he was in, which doesn't seem fair to me, but I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen there.
Thomas is still on the lead lap, so we'll wait and see how that turns out. So, Scott Larnack and George Johnson currently in the pits. Richard Brookfield touring through pit lane at the moment, as is just exiting the pits Benjamin Smith. They've all come back out. Oh no, and we've got another huge checkup. Like people just not paying attention. There was almost a crash, but yeah. Way close. Just people need to be a bit more attentive of what's happening in front of them, I think.
Hope I'm never in front of some of these guys on the freeway.
Oh goodness me.
It is a shame though, but what it has done, these safety cars, is it's probably given guys like Forzan El Nabi and Jake Maloney a bit more of a chance, because it has meant basically that Jared and Josh haven't had the chance to get away that we thought that they would. So less time for them to get away means that, you know, they'll probably have their racing quicker and won't sort of be settled for as long.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Jake. We've passed a third race time now, so we've only got about half an hour's worth of race time left. Cars just going single file here at Phillip Island at the moment.
I'm not entirely sure if that'll be the same style restart, because I think that might have been what race control were talking about with regards to the double file restarts. I think that might have been a mistake with the server. So I think maybe they're going to try and manually single file restart the next time round.
Right. I think that's a pretty good decision, seeing the incidents that we've seen so far. Only exacerbated by the double file restart.
The thing is, Reese, when you start single file, you might have someone get a better start than someone else, and then you're too wide into turn one. But when you have a double file restart, if someone gets a better start in the lane in front, it's 3 wide into turn one, and I think that's probably what triggered that incident.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, just I think a general sort of Not so much lack of patience, but maybe a lack of care coming into turn one, because Phillip Island's turn one, you know, as we've sort of touched on, is you know, you really don't have anywhere to go if you make a mistake. So if you take care in turn one, you stand a pretty good chance of getting out of there in one piece, even if you're side by side with another car. I think, yeah, this isn't a track that lends itself well to turn one dive bombs and the like.
No, that's right. But this time we're going to see these guys go for effectively their third start. Hopefully we'll see more than a lap worth of green racing this time by. But order's still the same up front. Phillip leads Muggleton in front of Maloney and El Nabi. So we've just had a delayed green there. So some things still needing to be sorted by race control.
You guys going 2x2 back in the field. I'm not sure if the memo has been properly sent out of race control.
Well, it's a bit difficult, unfortunately, because not sure about you, Reese, but I do have a voice chat mute set, and a lot of the messages are being transferred by voice chat, and a few guys could have it muted. So
yeah, I know I have
the message to everyone. Sorry.
I know I have my voice chat muted, just to keep myself focused on the commentary. We got George Johnson waved around the pace car, it seems.
Okay, so that's what this delay is for. They're giving some guys their laps back, which is a cool little feature, because with the incidents we've seen so early, a few guys didn't really get a chance to do much racing, and this will give them that chance.
Yeah. So it's Johnson and Larnack being waved around the pace car. Looks like those will be the only wave arounds we see, because they're the only guys still not on the lead lap.
Yeah, well, Larnach is actually pretty lucky that fast repairs have been made available for this series, because that car was complete junk.
Yep, for sure. So now Larnack has to find a way past all these drivers on his way through the field. And we've got another little bit of a cluster of cars almost in turn one. The accordion effect is still happening as these drivers are trying to make their way through.
Yeah, these guys really need to stick to one side of the track to make it easier for these guys, but unfortunately everyone's a bit scattered.
I mean, it's only round one. We're still trying to sort stuff out, and of course some of these teething issues will certainly happen, but all we got to do is exercise a bit of patience.
I believe both cars have now made it to the tip of the field.
Looks to be the case. They are about to pass the pace car. And around they go. There goes Mr. Johnson. There goes Mr. Larnack. And they are free to make their way around to the back of the field. But I'm not sure whether we're going to get another delayed green to allow them to catch back up, or if we're just going to go green at the end of this lap.
I think they've probably been given enough of a free kick as it is. I think they should probably send it green.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get some racing going.
We do have lights off on the safety car, so they will be going green, assuming it's not delayed. Hopefully we see some proper green flag racing and see all these guys make it through turn one this time.
Yeah, well, pace car's made it out of the second last turn by now, and yeah, it looks like we are indeed getting a green flag. So it's going to be a single file restart here. Jared Phillip, of course, heading up the field. Josh Muggleton just behind, and Jake Maloney in third. Forza El Nabi very close behind. But Jared Phillip is now controlling the field as the pace car enters the pits, waiting for the green flag. Waiting to see if Jared will try and get a jump. El Nabi already having a little bit of a look to the right, and Jared Filso is away. Green flag. All right, down the
start
turn we go.
Back in the field in about 6th. Guys fanning out now up to turn 1. Margot has a look on Jared. Well,
Jared's
Dodman goes to
try
the
and
outside.
maintain. Jared maintains the lead though. Alright, so everybody's getting through nice and easy. Dodman has gained a spot in all of that.
He's going to get 2 if he can have a look at El Nabi down into Honda.
See what happens here. Hopefully nobody loses it through Stoner. Mitch McLeod on the left-hand side of the track. Trying to go around the outside of Forza and El Nabi, but can't get it done. Like Dane Warren has gotten a bit of a jump.
Actually going to cost him a little bit of time there, but he has a big lunge back. Slight contact there.
Yeah, and that means Dane Warren is going to lose a position to Michael Healy. So that's Healy up to position number 7. Meanwhile, I'm seeing a little bit of a battle pack forming behind all of these guys, headed up by Tim Ballinger, with Guy Leach, Warren Pickering, and Darren Marsh just behind him.
Sorry to cut you off, Reece, but we've just had a change for the lead. Josh Muggleton makes a move on the inside on the run down into Lukey Heights and down to Honda, so he's going to have the lead. Phil saw a look to get him back, though.
Yeah, here we go. This is and this is what we talked about earlier on, Jake. Are Josh and Jared going to work together maybe and get a bit of a jump on the rest of these guys? We'll have to wait and see, but no move from Jared so far. Muggo is maintaining the lead through turn 1.
Certainly is, but Jared should be able to use that toe to at least keep with Muggo, but we're looking at the pack with Gary Dawkins at the moment. This is for about your 18th position.
Yep, Wayne Taylor heading up that battle pack. Sean Evans just ahead of him with still an extremely damaged car. But, oh no, Dane Warren there going off at Honda. Oh, sorry, Warwick Brown. That was that incident there. Let's have a look at what happened there. Just lost it on the brakes. Oh, goodness me.
Looks like a car might have appeared out of
Wayne Taylor.
Yeah,
Wayne Taylor just appeared. Yeah, wow. That's definitely not something you want to happen. That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of the things we see in sim racing, but not really in real life. But Michael Healy trying to keep in front of Blake Neck now. Healy's one of those attrition drivers. He doesn't quite have all-out speed as much as some of the other guys, but he can be so consistent and keep that thing on the black stuff and making it quite difficult for Blake Neck to get by at the moment.
Yeah, certainly. Where did Michael Healy start? He started in 8th. He's gained 1 position out of all of that. Yeah, he's doing quite well. Saw a car running wide out of turn 1 there, just behind them. That was Bo Albert there. Another Evolution Racing Australia driver. I think he's one of the Hornets. Very, very close here between Healy and Neck, though. Coming into Honda, Healy is going to try and protect the inside out of Stoner. Neck's just staying behind, trying to get a little bit of a jump on the over-under. Isn't quite able to make it work, though. I'm noticing, like, my experience driving this car, it's very hard to get a jump on your opponents on corner exit for some reason.
Yeah, well, the car is so good at direction change, as you mentioned, Reece, that it's hard to have better direction change, if that makes sense. So we're actually seeing our leaders coming across our first lapped car. I believe that's Brad Lloyd.
Yep. The front 4 have pulled away from the rest a bit, and it looks like Josh Muggleton's got quite the lead there from Jared Fulsell. Goodness me.
Nabi's. Oh, Maloney, massively wide off the last corner. He's kept it pinned in the grass.
Oh no, in the wall. Okay, now the question is, he's gone way too fast, and it looks like a little bit of internet trouble there from Jake Maloney.
That's
manually
an Alt F4
disconnected.
there. Yeah, that's an Alt F4.
Okay, well, I guess that saved us from another safety car.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But now Healy negotiating this lap car.
Makes it relatively easy for those guys.
He's not really getting out of the way, he's just sort of running his own thing, which is usually the best way to go. Predictability is key.
Yep. I think El Nabi wouldn't be too happy though, coming up to him in the middle of the last turn, but you know, that's racing sometimes. Brad Lloyd so far has not caused any incidents, so it's all good from my end. Hayden Dodman and Dane Warren, meanwhile, this is the battle for 4th and 5th position. Coming up through Lukey Heights down to MG. Oh, Dane Warren wiggling around under brakes.
You got to be really careful here, Reese, where you make your passes. The two easy ones are, well, not easy, but the two corners that are best to make the moves are Honda and MG. Because they're your sort of dive bomb corners. You can make it happen because it's nice and slow. Every other corner you try and make a move on this track, you really compromise both yourself and the car you're overtaking's flow, and that can allow the cars behind to catch really quickly.
Yeah, certainly can. Oh, look at the gain under brakes from Dane Warren there in Southern Loop, and he seems to have made it work with a little bit of a double apex sort of feel. Hayden Dodman running a little bit wide on the exit. That's going to kill his run a little down the following flat-out section.
Just behind them too, Blake Neck is all over the back of Michael Healy on the run into Honda. There's a big lock-up from Hayden there. Huge lock-up actually into Honda.
Yeah, certainly. Oh, big battle pack meanwhile between Guy Leach and Tim Ballinger going side by side in Siberia. Oh, and looks like Guy Leach has run a little bit wide. Left the door open a little for Sean Evans, but he's been able to cover him off. Leach and Ballinger very, very close at the moment, and oh, look out, Leach going a little bit wide into Lukey Heights. That's going to let Evans through, but Leach is going to have the inside now for MG corner. Warren Pickering just behind them, trying to make moves himself. Pickering now side by side with Evans. Pickering is going to tuck in behind in the second last turn, try and get a little bit of a run. He hasn't quite been able to hook up the throttle though. We'll see what happens if this leaves the door open for Darren Marsh, but Marsh gets backed up a little in the final corner, but now he has a little bit of a run out of the final corner. Lots of dust being kicked up out of the final turn. Warren Pickering versus Darren Marsh now down the front straight. Marsh goes to the inside for turn 1. He's going to try and make a move. No, he's not. He's going to do the sensible thing, try and stay behind. He's got a bit of a run though. Oh, Marsh off. But he's managed to keep it on the track. Pickering just very slow mid-corner. Sorry,
just
Jack.
up in front of those guys as well. Guy Leach made the move on turn 1 on Tim Ballinger. And further up again, now we're going to see Dane Warren and Hayden Dodman. Hayden keeps locking brakes into Honda. Dane Warren almost showed a nose and turned him around there.
Goodness me! See, this is what I was hoping we would see. These really fantastic battles between drivers. It's awesome to see this.
No doubt about it, Reese. These safety cars have done one thing and basically made this thing a huge sprint race. We've only got about 12 minutes to go, so I'm learning about see about 8 or 9 laps of racing.
Yeah, or I'm looking at Sean Evans going for the move up the inside of MG on Tim Ballinger. He's managed to get it done. Wonderful stuff there from Sean Evans with a car that's got quite a sorry looking front end. He's already getting a run.
Now Pickering and Marsh are too wide.
Oh dear. Marsh is going to get a little bit of a run.
Who's going to get the toe?
Just a little earlier. Nah, Warren Pickering.
It's
Pickering. Pickering's got the inside for turn 1. Marsh is going to be fuming at the moment. I really want to get by. He's probably thinking, oh, cutting it very close. They almost touch wheels.
Great spatial awareness there from Darren Marsh.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Well, he is one of the most experienced sim racers in the world.
Just just up in front of those guys. Looks like Evans might have a little bit more of a run. He could maybe make something here on the... Not quite.
Just creeping up, he's got it. Yeah, Leach saw him coming and yeah.
This pack's been quite ferocious over the last few laps, but nice and clean, which is what we like to see.
Yep, Marsh taking a very wide entry to Siberia, getting that late apex, a little bit of a launch. Just behind him, Gary Dawkins had a little bit of a slide for Progression Racing Australia.
Oh, sorry, just looking up in front for P4, Dane Warren and Aidan Dodman going at it, very committed down into MG corner. This is going to be on the front straight.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this turns out. Dodman, a little bit of a wider entry.
Warren's going to have him here easy. They're matching speed here, so with that toe, he should be able to easily get the inside run into turn 1. Might even have him half cleared by the corner.
They're going to go side by side into turn 1. Warren has it.
Good move there by Dane Warren. See if he can keep it. Dane's been trying to get that move done for a few laps now, so he'll now be looking forward to the 3rd place of Forzan El Nabi. Meanwhile, for our lead, Jared Philsell has put some awesome laps together and caught back up to Josh Muggleton, so we're going to see a race for the lead.
Yeah, this is. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this turns out too. Both teammates, both driving the same livery car, and these guys are obviously pretty comfortable around each other. No quarter given, so will be interesting to see how this turns out. We've got 10 minutes left of race time in this event.
Yeah, these guys will show each other heaps of respect, but you got to remember is these guys actually haven't raced each other all that much. They are sort of from different eras of the supercar, and have only raced each other once or twice in this Porsche Carrera Cup car. So these guys will still be learning about each other and where each other are fast, and definitely looks like Philsell's making the most of the late apexes at the moment, which should be able to give him the run up onto these long straightaways.
The Ballinger-Pickering Marsh battle, meanwhile, is still going on. Looks like Guy Leach managed to break away just a little from these guys. Tiny bit of breathing room, but Darren Marsh watching all of this, and Pickering off out of the second last turn, compromising his run a bit. Is he going to leave the door open for Darren Marsh is the big question. Marsh has a little bit of a draft. Pickering staying in the middle of the front straight. Marsh has the inside for turn 1 again. Oh, so close between these guys. At those speeds, it requires quite a bit of forethought in order to get through there cleanly.
It's a high-risk game of chicken going down there too wide, so well played by Darren Marsh to keep out of the quarter panel there. He hasn't quite got enough to have a look down into Honda, but battle's heating up a little bit for our race leader. Philsell closer now than he's been all race. Could even be a move into MG. They got nothing to worry about behind them.
And Ballinger's stunning while we're hearing. Oh no. Let's have a look at that. How did that happen? He got self-rotate up. Yeah, self-rotate on corner exit. That's very unfortunate. He was running quite well.
He tried to keep it too tight on the inside of Guy Leach, who'd run wide, and picking up the throttle with too much lock, it's just gone and speared straight to the right.
Real shame there. Meanwhile, looks like a big battle for 16th, 17th, 18th. 18th, 19th, 20th, sorry. That's Jared Tyerman along with Alistair Robertson, Wayne Taylor and Corey Ott. These guys are locked together in a battle that's gone off a bit in the last half a lap. Saw some side-by-side running.
Yeah, it's good to see good racing all throughout the field here.
An ever-growing list of retirements, unfortunately. Warwick Brown, Connor McCluskey Young, Thomas Hinds, Brad Lloyd, Damien Carr, Jake Maloney, Scott McKee, Richard Brookfield, and Lewis Paulo Gallon.
All over the back of Guy Leach, sorry Reese, all the way through Southern Loop. He was giving him a bit of Morse code over the back. He's going to have to make a bit of a dive. Guy Leach has been wide here the last couple of laps, so we'll see if it happens again. Marsh, very deep behind.
Marsh. Just me. He's going to have that late apex, or is he? He's not quite able to get the power down. Loving this battle. This is fantastic.
Even more importantly, it looks like our race for the lead is pretty much on here. Jared Philcell tapping the back of Josh Muggleton and exiting MG. Only about 6 minutes to go in this race. We're only going to see 4 or so laps. Jared needs to make something happen soon.
Yeah, certainly does. He can just get the exit right from Southern Loop. He'll be able to go for a move at Honda.
Could almost be a move into 1 here. He's got quite a run.
Oh yeah, certainly has. Running all over the curb, trying to get that move done.
Last minute.
Straight to the inside. But Muggleton covers him. They got a lapped car just ahead of them. Who
Jared
is
can
that?
get this right. It'll
That's
be a move
true.
on Honda.
It's our series admin just ahead of them. Here we go. Philcell catching up slightly under brakes.
It's this part of the track that I've noticed Philcell has been so fast. The high-speed stuff, he sort of struggles with a bit of understeer under the rear wing of Josh Muggleton, but through this slow stuff, he's just so good. I think his best chance at a move is probably going to be into MG. That's where he's been the closest every lap so far.
Yeah, he's got a run coming up into Lukey Heights almost. Oh, through the first
Wider
part of
entry.
Hayshed, you could see he was catching up, but oh, here we go. Muggleton's
He's
just
been
a little bit
lining him up
wide.
since Hayshed. He's ready to go. Muggo runs mid-track.
Oh, getting so close through MG, nearly touching bumpers. Muggo just covering off Philcell nicely there. Philcell is definitely taking the much more aggressive lines here in his attempts to get past Muggleton. But
He's running too tight in the last corner though. It's allowing Muggleton to get a bit of an advantage.
Yeah,
He's closer now than he's been though. This is going to be on.
yeah, certainly is. Muggo covering the inside. Johnson lets them by. Philcell to the inside. Yeah,
I think
Muggo's just, he's able to make better use of his of the available grip.
Yeah, I think Muggo probably got saved a little bit by George's draft there. But
Philcell.
Philcell can get Stoner right and fan out wide. He might be able to have a look into Honda, but I think he's a little far back this lap.
We're just coming up on 4 minutes remaining in this race.
Here he
so
goes
only
to
3
the
laps.
inside.
Here we go. Is Philcell going to hold it?
Keeps it tight.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got
Job
it done. Good stuff from Jared Philcell there, but Muggo's going to
looks
try
back.
and come back at him. Come back
Philcell
at him
gives
through
through.
Siberia. Oh, Philcell. And that's the cool thing about Siberia. You're able to do that. You're able to hold on to the outside through there. There's a lot of grip on the outside line.
You can also pitch it in and throw it over the curb and make quite a big move on the inside, which I think is what Muggleton was trying to do. Now Muggo can't let it slip here. He's got to stay there and use that draft. We know how fast he's been at the high-speed corners.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Meanwhile, a bit of a shout out to our main man at V8's Online and one of our directors, Fonty. He's given this a watch on the plane. Hello, Fonty. Hope you're having a fun time. A couple of Ks up in the air. 4 minutes to go now, so... Oh, Muggo catching up through turn 1. Philcell slowed him up a little bit there.
Muggo's just so much faster in these high-speed corners. I don't know, you just carry so much more corner speed. Oh, this lap traffic's thrown Philcell a little bit. This could be Muggo's opportunity. That's cost Philcell dearly.
Yeah.
That's given Muggo a big run, and he's going to take a dive to the inside. Hasn't quite got an overlap. And Philcell closes the door, but he's left it open. Run wide at the apex. It's going to be too wide on the ride up to Siberia.
Can we see him move around the outside maybe in Siberia?
I'm
no,
thinking an
Muggleton-
undercut to Hayshed.
Yeah, undercut to Hayshed will probably work here. Muggleton's got a little bit of a run. He's going to try and go for it. Nah, he's not able to get it done.
Keeps it pinned to the floorboard behind Philcell though. Lifts slightly at the apex. Doesn't want to unsettle his teammate. MG's going to be the next opportunity. He keeps it beautifully tight. He needs to fan out, but Philcell covers slightly. Muggleton thinks better of it this time.
Yeah. It'll be 2 laps to go when they cross the line here. Now it's Muggleton's turn to be taking the aggressive lines in an attempt to get by Jared Philcell. They've got another lapped car there. making it nice and easy for them. Look at the run that he's got on the entry to the last turn. He was able to gain about half a car length. Phil Sell just running a little bit wide onto the grass there. Muggo's got a little bit of a run. We might see him move into turn 1. Muggo goes to the inside. Side by side to turn 1. Muggo gets it.
The Rose are in deep and has him clear, but now Phil Sell's going to be on the outside into Southern Loop, which will probably give him a very favourable exit. Which is what's happened now. He's got a really good run, so Phil Sell's going to be catching Muggleton again on the run up to Stoner and into Honda. Will he have a dive?
Oh, I think he might.
Of course he does. It's Phil Sell. He looks to the inside. Muggleton runs deep.
Cool, just covers him in the second stage of the
There's
braking zone there. Oh, might be another try around the outside at Siberia.
See if he can do this undercut into Hayshed that Muggo tried last lap, but Muggo parks the bus beautifully, but he's much closer. Phil Sell needs to keep that foot pinned on that floorboard so he can have a run and have an outside overlap here. Isn't going to quite happen.
Absolutely loving this battle right now. Muggo going wide on the exit of Lukey Heights, just protecting the inside of MG from Phil Sell. Nearly touching bumpers once again. They got another lap car to deal with. It's Bradley Wingard there in front of him, car 31.
This is just about win it or bin it time for these guys, though. It's going to be white flag this time by 1 lap to go.
A minute 14 on the clock, so yes, it is going to be the last lap. Phil Sell gets as much of a draft as he can from Wingard. Massive move there from Phil Sell, nearly unsettling the car. This is going to be it. This is going to be the battle for the race win right now. It's all decided here. Phil Sell just a little bit of a run there on entry. Meanwhile, Pickering and Marsh is starting to heat up again.
Phil Sell needs to have a dive at MG. It's his only real chance, I think, to win this one. Unless he has a look at Honda, which he hasn't.
He's going to try and go around the outside, have a little bit of a look at an undercut. No.
Siberia, maybe.
Yep. Or maybe just turning the corner into a bit of a V shape, nearly tagging Muggo in the rear quarter.
It's going to be MG. This race is going to be decided at MG. Between Phil Sell and Muggleton. It's going to be between Jared Phil Sell and Josh Muggleton. Muggleton currently with the advantage. Let's see how they get through Lukey Heights. Muggleton very narrow. Phil Sell needs to throw it down here if he wants any chance at this one.
Oh, just a little bit unsettled there, Phil Sell. Nearly smashed into the back of Muggleton, but I think that's given it to Muggo.
And Muggo did a really good job. He took the 1X and did everything he could at Lukey Heights. And that TTR Harrop Porsche 911 is going to round the last corner, and it's going to be Josh Muggleton, your winner of round 1 of the season 2 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia here at Phillip Island.
Yep, 1-2 for Trans-Tasman Racing. Forzan El Nabi, meanwhile, for Performance Motorsports, is going to finish in 3rd. Dane Warren 4th. Blake Neck in 5th. Hayden Dodman is going to come home in 6th. 7th, Michael Healy. Bo Albert is going to hold off Michael Hammond for 8th. Sean Evans, meanwhile, is going to take home 10th place. And it looks like Warren Pickering, in the end, was able to hold off Darren Marsh for position number 11. They've both passed Guy Leach, who comes home in 13th, with Gary Dawkins coming home in 14th, just behind them. Oh my goodness, that was a fun race in the end.
Yeah, almost glad we saw those safety cars. It definitely put these guys under a bit more pressure, but I'm actually looking Scott Nolan. It could not be over for position 25 on the field. Nah, looks like Simon Mesamomo has it. Oh no, it could be a drag race to the line here between Simon and Scott Nolan. Nolan looks to the inside. This is going to be close. Simon's going to keep it.
Wow, very close there for those guys. Matthew Deere finishing just behind them. Looking for any battles further down in the pack. It looks like Colin Bruns is going to hold off Daniel Stevens. Grant Fitzpatrick and Scott Larnack, meanwhile, in a heated battle. It looks like Fitzpatrick is going to take it. Larnack had a bit of a run, but he wasn't able to make it work. Dave Baldock and Josh Nowak battling. Looks like Josh was able to make a move on Dave there on the final lap.
Jonathan Turner is our last car across the line on the lead lap, so I think we should look for our race results, Reese.
Yep, certainly. Race results up on the screen. So Josh Muggleton and Jared Philsell coming home at 1-2 for Trans Tasman Racing. Forzan El Nabi in third. Dane Warren fourth. Blake Neck in position number 5 for Evolution Racing Team. Hayden Dodman takes Talk Inc. to a very strong 6th place with Michael Healy in 7th. Bo Albert in 8th. 9th, Michael Hammond and Sean Evans rounding out your top 10.
Over the page, and I see Warren Pickering, who we saw involved in a huge battle, up from 21st to finish 10th. That's going to be Darren Marsh in 11th. Darren Marsh in 12th, Guy Leach in 13th, Gary Dawkins 14th, Tim Ballinger is going to bring it home in 15th with Jared Tyman in 16th, Alistair Robertson and Corey Ott 17th and 18th with Benjamin J. Smith and Mitchell McLeod 20th.
Wayne Taylor is going to come home in 21st, David Coleman in 22nd, 23rd, Darren O'Brien, Mark Peter Dean coming home in 24th position, Simon Mazzomo coming home in 25th, with 26th being taken by Scott Nolan, Matthew Deere in 27th, 28th, Alex Greenwood, Andrew Stokes coming home in 29th, and completing your top 30, Colin Bruns.
We'll just go through the last few cars on the lead lap. Daniel Stevens in 31st with Grant Fitzpatrick in 32nd, and Scott Lanark coming back from a rather large accident in the first few laps to finish 33rd. Josh Nowak 34th with Dave Baldock 35th, and Jonathan Turner, your last car on the lead lap, in 36th.
So your lap down cars were Bradley Wingard, George Johnson, Ian Maltby and Ben Piscaneri. Meanwhile, your retirements, Brad Lloyd, Darryl Carter, Warwick Brown, Connor McCluskey-Young, Thomas Hinz, Damien Carr, Jake Maloney, Scott McKee, Richard Brookfield and Luis Paulo Gallon. That is your field for round 1 of Porsche Carrera Cup Australia from Phillip Island. And wow, that was quite the mammoth results to go through, Jake. 52 cars turning up to this first round of the championship, and quite a bit of drama to boot.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and I think one of the best battles we saw race was probably for our lead with Jared Philsell, and I think we might chat to Jared, as we haven't seen Muggo jump in. Jared, mate, awesome battle between you and your Harrott Racing stablemate there, Josh Muggleton, but didn't quite get the one up on him this time.
Yeah, no, that's alright. Wasn't going to play dirt in chuck a jerky block out. That's alright. Good racing though. I like that.
Yeah, certainly. You're so it's a position 2 start and a position 2 finish, but of course you obviously had quite a bit of fun battling your teammate Josh Muggleton. Meanwhile, I suppose you don't really have much to say, Jared.
Yeah, other than my feet are cold, that safety car period was quite boring. That could explain my lack of pace, but I'll just say that the tyres weren't up to temp.
Well, it was definitely a dramatic first round of the championship. You had quite a bit of fun spamming that headlight flash button. But looking forward, I suppose this championship is off to a brand new start, and round 2 at Mosport is coming up in a very short amount of time. So, what are your thoughts on that? Looking forward.
You know, that's a great track. I like that. Really enjoying the Porsche. It's something different. Really suits my style as a driver. I tend to go down the understeery route, so yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. So on the odd Sunday that I can make it, I'll jump in and have a skid.
Brilliant stuff, Jared. Well, we've got your teammate Josh Muggleton here. Just joined up. Mr. Muggleton, congratulations on your win.
Yeah, thank you very much. How good was that? It certainly brought some action towards the end there after all the safety cars at the start.
Yeah, we were watching your race, Muggo. You definitely had good speed in quali. We were talking about in the broadcast chat about that first lap in qualifying maybe being worth a lot, and then the track seemed to drop off, both you and Jared not improving quali after your first lap.
I did improve by 0.05 later on, or something like that. But yeah, it was full on. That was awesome race, and great to have both the Harrop and HRS cars up the front with Jared, and we both raced clean, and it was yeah, definitely one of the tougher ones.
Yeah, well, looking forward to round two at Most Sport, a very similar track to Phillip Island. A couple of places where you can send it up the inside. Quite a bit of elevation change, very flowing and fast turns. Are you looking forward to going for round two with Jared, possibly for the win?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to do this half-assed, so I'm in it to win it. And you know, Jared's one of the best guys in the Porsche on iRacing at the moment. He's taking it to the world in the support category to the iRacing World Championship. So any day you can beat him is a pretty good day.
Yeah, certainly. Well, congratulations, Muggo, and I guess we'll see you next time at Most Sport.
Yep, definitely will. Thanks, guys.
Well, as we look forward, Reese, I think we'll talk about some of the other events we're broadcasting on V8s Online over the next few days. You'll see us tomorrow night for the iRacing V8 Supercars official online series, also heading to Phillip Island, so that'll be a really exciting one, as well as the NASCAR Truck Series heading back on Thursday. I'm not sure of the track, but I believe it'll probably be Charlotte. No, Pocono we're hearing, so the tricky triangle for the truck guys, and then obviously a lot of racing. Next weekend we'll have the V8 Supercars online Premier Series from Sebring, so yeah, really exciting week of broadcasting and racing coming up.
Yeah, definitely, and you can catch it all here on V8s Online. Be sure to give us a like on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitch, and follow us on Twitter as well. Make sure you receive all the latest updates from us. Well, I think that's a very good opportunity to wrap this broadcast up. Thank you very much for joining us, wherever you may be and whatever source you may be watching this through. We appreciate your viewership, and we will see you for our next broadcast in a mere few days' time. Special thanks also to Sim Racing Bay for their sponsorship of this series, this first round of the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Championship, and we definitely look forward to presenting more of this series if this first race was anything to go by. So it's goodbye from us. You've been watching the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Championship here on V8s Online, the best race here. My name is Reese Gardner. Joining me was Jake Burton. Directing was Jay Kennedy. We'll see you next time to see if Josh Muggleton can back up his round one win.